I'm joined by my co-host, the talented Christopher Jengalewski. Hey, Chris, how's it going?
I'm doing well, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Great. I'm absolutely delighted to introduce today's guest, Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, producer Howard McCrary. Born in Youngstown, Ohio, Howard grew up in a musical family. One of 10 siblings, Howard became a part of the family group known as the McCrarys, with 2 of his brothers and 2 of his sisters, with the group's initial field in the gospel arena. Then in the early 1970s, the group performed throughout the US and Canada, recording one album, Sunshine Day, for Light Records. In 1985, he co-produced the album So Good and was nominated for a Grammy for Best Gospel Performance Male. In 1987, he was given ASCAP's Duke Ellington Award for Most Promising Writer in Gospel Music and was commissioned to write the piece Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow for the Brooklyn Philharmonic Symphony Orchestra. He was featured as a background vocalist on Quincy Jones' best-selling Back on the Block, as well as arranging vocal parts for the song Keep the Faith on Michael Jackson's 1992 multi-platinum album Dangerous. He began working with Chaka Khan in 1993 as a keyboardist and musical director. Later, he worked with Oscar-winning composer Hans Zimmer on the film Power of One. We're so honored to have Howard on the show today. Howard, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nikki and Chris. I'm really happy to be here with you today. Thank you.
Howard, where do we begin? You've had such a fantastic career, and you've really played with so many, the top musicians in the world. What I'd like to do is let's start right at the beginning, because I'm really always interested in how great musicians get their start. And for you had a musical family, is that right to say? Your dad was a choir master, a musician, and you had all your siblings were very musical, right?
Oh, yes. In our family, if you didn't sing or play an instrument, you didn't get a chance to eat.
Oh, ooh.
It wasn't that severe, but everybody thought it was kind of odd if you weren't musically talented in some way.
Now, you were in Ohio. What was Ohio like to grow up in that period?
Ohio is one of the best states in the world, in the nation. The people there are so friendly, and even during the civil rights movements and all that was happening back in the 60s and 70s, the people, they just take you as they find you.
Your dad was a large influence on the family. Is that fair to say? Did he really help shape the direction of your musical development?
Oh, absolutely. There was no such thing in our family as singing flat. If you're supposed to be singing B flat, that's not what you sing. If you sing anything other than that, you might get chased after with a belt.
Oh,
yeah, he was serious.
Can you describe his musical training?
I believe he was influenced by his elder brother Eugene, and they sang a quartet together called the Tones of Joy back in the 40s, and Uncle Gene he was even more strict than my father.
Oh, what would he make you guys do?
Well, he just was very psychologically put you on the spot, asked you to sing a note, and it had to be said, give me an A flat, you had to sing an A flat.
So Howard, do you have perfect pitch? Is that something you or did he give you like a starting pitch?
I have perfect pitch, and so if I hear something that's out of tune or someone who's not singing in tune, it drives me absolutely crazy.
How about the rest of your family and your dad? Do they all have perfect pitch?
Not really. My father had perfect relative pitch.
At what age did you start the band? Because it says here that you practiced piano, you were singing, they were always singing in the house. And so which came first? Was it the singing? Was it the piano? How did you really begin your training proper?
Well, just mostly from observation. And when I watched my father play, as soon as he'd get up from the piano, I'd go back and try to find the notes that he was playing. And was self-taught completely by ear. But I would say that the greatest influence on me musically was my father, Charles McCrary.
His day job, he wasn't a musician, right? He did that on the side. And what was his day job?
He was a broiler operator for the USS Steel.
No kidding.
Yeah, quite a responsibility. And he also was a union leader as well, too.
The first standard that he taught you was All the Things You Are, one of my favorite songs. And that's not an easy song. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
That's right. That's true. My father used to challenge me, Nick. He challenged me, like he would say, if you learn Claude Debussy's Clair de Lune all by ear, so I'll give you $50. But if you learn George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue, I'll give you $100. That was a lot
Wow.
of money back then.
Wow. Wait a second. Okay. Now, I got to say this. That's unusual for the average family. Like, you have to be like a really high-level musician to demand that of your kids. So, did your father travel in very high musical circles?
He did, because his musical preference and musical taste was very high. He he challenged me with these songs, and then he said, if you're going to learn jazz, you got to learn from the greats, you know. So he had me study Duke Ellington, and but I'm trying to think. Well, just Ella Fitzgerald, and anybody. And of course, he loved Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra too.
We watched a video of you recently. You were playing "Fly Me to the Moon" with some. I think they were in kindergarten. They were like kindergarten students. So, I just moved to Singapore from the U.S. and I'm going to be teaching some young children too. And I'm wondering, how did you get them to do that?
Well, my wife Ivy, she was really smart in engineering this. She sought this school out that had it's called Right Mind Kindergarten, and these children they tour all over the world, singing with the Vienna Boys Choir and the Hong Kong Philharmonic and the Hong Kong Chinese Orchestra, and they're really in demand. So Ivy found them for me, and thought they would be a great addition to the show, and they just took everybody's hearts away.
What is your advice for young musicians that are trying to learn difficult material and maybe they don't actually have a father who's musical or mother's musical that motivates them and they're kind of doing it on their own?
Well, I would tell them to follow their dreams, follow their heart, which is connected to the ears, and everything that they need musically is within, and you can be influenced from without, but the true inspiration comes from your spirit, your soul.
So, Howard, I'm very curious about your church development now. Tell us how, like, 'cause I'm from Singapore, I'm not too familiar with the how music is conducted in churches in the U.S. I have some idea. I love gospel music, as it is in Baptist circles and so forth. But you really, especially with the McCrarys, the band that you started with your 4 other siblings, you really know that field of music very well. For people who are listening, what's that like, music in church growing up or in the community? It's different. It's got its own thing that's so magical and got so much energy and vitality. Describe the gospel music scene growing up.
Well, once you really, really get into gospel music or praise and worship and sacred music, you'll learn that it's more than an art form. It's a lifestyle. And then you're singing about a power that is greater than yourself. It's like, it's not like exactly like singing to the sky, but he created the sky and all the molecules and everything that belongs to not only the universe but the multiverse. And so the music will always be inspired, and it never grows old. You never get stale, because one theologian said it's God's nature to outdo his previous works. So he's omnificent in as far as creating. He's still creating. The universe is still expanding, and there will never be enough music created. So we have to depend on the next generation to keep music going, keep music alive.
Do you follow the trends in gospel music today? Do you listen to artists who are recording, and do you have any people that you like, or what's your take on the modern gospel scene?
Well, there are a few real artists out there that are really going to carry the torch. I like Israel Houghton.
Do you listen to Kim Burrell or like Ty Tribbett?
Oh yes, Kim Burrell, love her. Hezekiah Walker. There's so many wonderful artists. So many of our great pioneers have gone home, like Pastor Andre Crouch, Walter Hawkins, and Edwin Hawkins, who just recently passed away. And out of the original bunch, there's still only Richard Smallwood is still alive. He's still with us, and we're gonna put some bubble wrap on him.
Now it says that there was one blog post where you were writing, I think it was to your mom, and it was very funny. You mentioned, "Thank you for being patient because for those days that I was practicing piano for up to 8 hours a day." Now you got to. What were you practicing for those 8 hours? Do you remember exactly what were you doing? Were you doing scales? Were you doing chord progressions? Were you doing songs?
Well, I wanted to know how many chord progressions there are in music. So it kept me busy for hours. When you come up with a melody and you want to see how many alternative chord changes can you play to that, sometimes I come up with maybe 1,000.
Could you give an example? Like take a song when you were a kid. What song would you play around with?
Oh, let's say which is the way it's originally supposed to go, right? But you may go, you just figure out alternatives and see how many passages you can take of something like that.
Ooh. Now you're talking.
Oh. It's a fun game.
Now wait a second. So did you have records that you copied, or did you have mentors other than your dad, or were you asking your dad for chord substitutions? Where were you building your vocabulary?
Oh my goodness, there were so many wonderful influences. Stevie Wonder was an influence on my music. Sergio Mendes.
Howard, do you know Stevie?
Yes, I do. But at the time I didn't know him. It's just those years of practice and brought me up to meet him. That's why I tell young musicians today, practice, 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 because you don't know where this experience is going to take you. And so if you have an extraordinary talent, it will make room for you and will take you to places you've never dreamed of before. I mean, like I even performed for the King of Morocco. It was a command performance. I was musical director also for Sherman Hemsley. Remember George Jefferson?
Yeah.
We put a hot band together, a small orchestra, really.
Wait, were you and George Jefferson?
Yes, for George. He used to sing. Yeah, he passed away about a year ago.
So were you suggesting just like a moment ago that you always want to be ready for any opportunity that can come? So you were always practicing just so that when those moments would come up, you'd be prepared at your best.
Oh yes. See, the thing about it, Nikki, is that music has levels. If you're willing to always go to the next level, that's when your phone rings. When you reach a certain level, and they say, "We want you to come and conduct the session, or arrange it, or do something with it." And that's why my phone used to ring with the Ringo Starr on it, and because I'm having a problem figuring out names.
It's astonishing the people you know, Howard, and I mean you yourself are a phenomenal musician. There's no wonder that they're calling you. And let's keep going with your influences. So you mentioned Sergio Mendes, you mentioned Stevie Wonder. Let's if I could be a bit more in depth. What album were you looking at for Stevie Wonder? Was there a track that you really enjoyed as a child that you were really listening to?
Sure, there's music of my mind, and also
that's a tough fulfillingness.
Yes. Yeah. the orange one.
Yeah, those are great albums.
Oh yes, Andre Previn also influenced me too.
Jazz. Let's talk about jazz for a second. So your dad taught you all the things you are. And then also you added, followed by 300 more songs. So would it be fair to say you know a lot of, jazz is something that you're very intimately trained in and aware of, and you've all your life and who are your influences in jazz?
Oh my goodness. Well, we have to go way back. I think as far as singing or playing, as far as musically playing, Bill Evans really blew my mind. I love Bill Evans. And also, he just passed away with the Jazz Crusaders, pianist for the Jazz Crusaders. And you know what's so funny too, Nicky, is that I really admired that gentleman, and I started practicing. There's an old Chinese
Is it Joe
Joe
Sample?
Sample, Joe Sample, yes, Joe Sample. Thank you so much, Chris. God bless you, Joe. But Joe Sample, and also
Is Art Tatum's from Ohio, right? Is he from
yeah,
is it Cleveland
that's
or Toledo? Sorry, Toledo.
In Ohio, were you very aware of all the history of the great musicians that came out of there? And was that common knowledge growing up, like, oh, all these great people from Ohio, and everybody knew them or kind of following them in their steps?
oh yeah, but the thing was that for me, I had lived a pretty isolated life, and from so many influences. My mother wanted us just to do gospel, with the Mahalia Jackson. But I tell you, when I discovered, the point I was making before was that my practicing led me to meet Joe Sample. Joe Sample played on the McCrarys' Sunshine Day album. Yeah, and we met him and we said, well, this is so great, you know. So the Chinese proverb says, great preparation meets opportunity.
Now, with the McCrarys, talk about that life of touring and the music you did throughout the 70s, also with that album as well. What was that experience like with your siblings? I can't imagine, as a child, how did you feel throughout that whole time?
It felt very natural to come into that. We didn't realize what we were creating. We just wanted to just praise the Lord and make and entertain people, make them happy to just be alive, and just write songs that promote God and values, family values. So, but at first we called ourselves the McCrary Five, but then we heard about this group in Indiana called themselves the Jackson Five. So we had to change our name to the McCrarys, and lo and behold, the Jacksons changed their name to the Jacksons.
Did you guys bump into each other on the tour?
No, we were both signed to Capitol Records, and they put our families on tour together.
Oh, wow.
What was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. Yes, we were on tour because we were both signed to Capitol Records, and so we frontline for the Jacksons. And remember, if we hadn't practiced, we would never have that opportunity. So practice singing, practice playing, musicians out there. Don't give up. It only gets easier.
And you said on your way onto the stage, they mistook you for Michael Jackson and they tore your shirt off?
When I came out of the stage door, they thought I was Michael.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty crazy.
It is.
Now, let's compare. So, were you guys of similar ages, the two groups?
Similar ages, very close in age, yes.
When you were touring with them, were you looking at them and kind of seeing how they were rehearsing, and was it influencing you guys as well? Were you like comparing notes? Did you chat with them a lot?
Oh yeah, and especially like the after parties we used to get together, and I was going through a divorce at that time, and Michael heard about it, so he was this huge house we were guests at afterwards, and Michael said, he saw me coming in, and he said, Howard, come here. He said, Howard, I want to introduce you first before I introduce you to this person. I understand you're going through divorce. I said, yes, Michael. He said, are you sure you're going to not go back? I said, yes, Michael, I'm not going to go back. He said, well, in that case, I want you to meet my cousin. Her name is Jackie. And that night, I met one of those beautiful young ladies in the world. And that was the last time I saw her. 1979.
I guess it's fair to say that you guys were good friends. I mean, he was talking to you. You guys had a close relationship, right?
We were very close with the Jackson family. And it was not just Michael, but Tito and Jermaine and Randy. And we were very, very good friends and supported one another.
Howard, can I ask you a question about Capitol Records and the whole music machine, so to speak, back then? Now, when you guys were writing your songs and performing them, take us through the process back then. I do want to get to the It's So Good. Let's just end off with this from that period. Describe putting together that album, Sunshine Day, and talk about the people you worked with, the producers, and how that album came to be, and the work that you did on that album, the writing and so forth.
Well, we were signed to Light Records, when the president at that time was Ralph Carmichael. Thank God he's still with us. And the thing about Sunshine Day was it was produced by Fred Werner, and so he got some of the greatest musicians in the world to play on that. Joe Sample on piano. Let's see, Nathan East on bass. Oh no! Sorry, my album was Nathan East.
Okay.
McCrarys album, that was Joe Osborne. Joe Osborne played with the Carpenters too, as well. But these are legendary guys that played on our first album.
Well, how did you feel during the recording of that album? Did you feel a lot of pressure back then?
No, we just took it all in stride, because we were just doing what we did as kids. We harmonized together so naturally. So the album was not a challenge in any way. It was a real joy.
Who did the arrangements for the pieces and the writing for the music?
Well, between my brother Alfred and I and Fred Werner on that project, and Fred has a list of credits to his name that is very, very impressive. So that was our first introduction to Hollywood.
And I mean, it only got better, because in 1985 you co-produced "So Good," and it was nominated for a Grammy Best Gospel Performance Male. Let's talk about the production of that album, which you co-produced. What were the things that you were taking charge of in the production of that album?
Well, I wanted to influence my generation, my father's generation, and my son's generation. You know who my son is, right?
He's an actor.
Yeah, Darius McCrary.
That's right.
Yeah, and he has a younger brother and sister, Sarah, who's signed one of the. In fact, Chaka Khan said that Sarah McCrary is one of the greatest songwriters she's ever known.
Let's get your daughter on.
Yes, she would love it. And she's got the gift of gab too. Then we have another Donovan is her brother.
So on that album, "So Good," let's talk about the music on that album. So talk about the writing of the music, the arranging, and the production.
Okay, I was signed to Good News Records through Freddie Pirro and his sister Terry Pirro, and the influences on that album. I was trying to capture what was happening in that time. But at that time, David Bowie was really, really very popular. Michael McDonald was very, very popular. Michael and I are friends too.
He was at my Berkeley, 2012, the Berkeley. I saw him at the graduation.
Really?
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. My son Tyler McCrary is attending Berkeley right now.
Oh wow.
What do you think of Michael's recent collaborations?
Oh, Michael McDonald?
Yeah, he's been collaborating with a lot of younger groups like Wolfpack and I think Solange and a few other people as well.
Well, that's great. Well, I tell you, anything Michael has the Midas touch, so anything he's involved in is going to be great. He's like the same with Quincy Jones.
Yeah, absolutely.
I tried to get the influences of that day, even some influences from Michael on it. You listen to it. So I wrote the songs basically to reach the young people, and now those young people are parents.
So you are very conscious. So you're somebody who has a wide vocabulary of music, and at that age, it's interesting. So you made a conscious choice to really hit the market in a strong way. And did you have to restrain yourself? So in some ways, like, you have so much knowledge of harmony and all these things. When you're making a commercial record, do all these things, do you have to, in a sense, have a sense of control when you're writing songs and so forth?
Yes, because if you go too much towards the edge, you're out there by yourself. So you gotta.
That's a great line.
We're gonna have to quote that.
We're gonna quote you now.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's great to have that vocabulary at your disposal. But you always have to think about your audience. What do they understand? What are they feeling? What do they want to hear? How can you reach them? And you have to ask yourself these questions, because I always teach that the most popular artist is the one who really cares about what his audience thinks.
But Howard, listening to "So Good," Chris and I were listening to it earlier. It has some nice changes on the album. It's not a straightforward song.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got away with a few chords, but Freddie Pirro was really he was a taskmaster on that. And he said, Howard, don't make it too difficult for your audience to understand.
So there is that pressure. Then you really do have to really make sure if you're going to commit to a nice chord, it's gotta fit, and it's gotta be the audience will get it.
Oh yes, absolutely. I'll tell you a funny story. I used to be musical director at PTL with Jim and Tammy Baker. And one day Tammy came up to me and she said, Howard, don't play those chords. Jesus hates those chords.
So what's your perspective on that when it comes to music? Well, do you like Howard, do you like atonal music? Do you like music that's very avant-garde? Do you like things that push the boundary, like Cecil Taylor and that kind of thing, modern jazz, free jazz? Like, what's your conception, so to speak?
Well, I'm a real advocate of freedom. And if you can allow yourself to just totally go get in the zone on that, I have great respect for that. Who's this keyboard player named Corey? You can see him on YouTube. His name is Corey.
Corey Henry, right?
Yeah.
Corey Henry, that's the pianist. He plays a bit of drums too.
Wow.
And he's actually connected through that whole group with Michael McDonald and Wolfpack and all these kind of young musicians, Snarky Puppy as well.
Oh yes, I think it's wonderful, these young people that venture out, and not just stuck in the box. Corey Henry, that's him. But it's just like take for instance, Chick Corea is also a dear friend of mine, and he and I. Can you believe he and I played dueling duets?
Oh, really?
Nice.
Is there like a video of this we could watch? I'd love to see that.
If there is, then he has it.
What would you guys play?
We just played the blues and Spain.
Of course.
He is so amazing. I love Chick. And but your question was how do I feel about musicians that go to take the music to the edge? I think go there, please go boldly where no man has ever dared gone before.
Now, could you tell us a little bit about working with Quincy Jones? Now, I mean, he's obviously a fantastic musician and composer and arranger, and it looked like you worked with him on Back on the Block, the best-selling album. What was that like?
That was like the creme de la creme of 4 genres of music. There's hip-hop, jazz, gospel, and pop. And all of those influences were there. The young lady who wrote Man in the Mirror, from her to, and plus there was an African influence on that album too. Quincy invited a gentleman from South Africa named Caiaphas Samana. And when he heard my music and heard how I was helping Andre to arrange the songs, Andre and Sandra, he came over to me and are you ready for this? He said, You have great spirit. Great spirit.
Whoa.
I nearly knocked me on the floor.
That's great.
He's very, very powerful himself, and for him to say that in recognition of the music, the musicality that's within me, which I tell you, Nick, I give all the praise and honor and the glory to God, because without His help, I could never find the right chords or the right songs or the right melodies. I always completely trust the Lord with everything.
Well, I can't argue with the results. I mean, look at that. Whatever you're doing, it's working. Can I ask you a couple of questions with Quincy? So, did you work? So you worked with Quincy. Are you guys good friends as well?
Well, not close friends, buddies, because I live in China now. So it's but if I were to see him on the street or in a cafe somewhere, of course we probably hug each other and get a good conversation. I just haven't seen anybody in a good while. But Quincy, to work with him, it's like working with a modern day Bach, because there are masters of music, but he is a master of masters.
let's move over to the Dangerous album. And you had a very important role in the tune Keep the Faith, Michael Jackson's album Dangerous. You arranged the vocal parts, and there was a really interesting story where you mentioned, I think it was on your blog or in an interview, something was not working and you fixed it for Michael. You worked out the vocal arrangement. It came to you, and could you tell the story of figuring out the vocals for that tune?
Oh, sure. Music goes through my mind continually. I hear it when there's silence. I hear chord changes. I hear progressions, and it never ends. I'm just used to it now. But what happens is that same presence of music comes to me inspirationally when I need an idea, or when someone needs an idea for the record. That's why they used to, Helen Baylor, Julio Iglesias, and Diana Ross, and Stevie Wonder. Whenever they would call me in to do a session, they knew that I could hear something one time or twice, and then get the proper arrangement for it to accompany whatever they needed. And that's what happened on Michael's session. Andre and Pastor Andre and Pastor Sandra, say respectfully, they were so in demand, and I was happy to sing with their group because of their brilliance as well and their spontaneity. But there was this one part on Keep the Faith, nobody could come up with the right line. So Andre looked at me and said, "Howard, you better fix this." I said, "Yes, Pastor Andre." So it was that line did not exist in the song, but I heard it in my mind too. So I said, "So sopranos, you sing faith," and then the altos were saying faith. It's just pretty straight harmony because the chords is there, but oh, thank you. So when I talked to the choir and hear it, and Michael was in the booth of his hat, and when he heard how that came together, like in 10 minutes, he leaped up out of his chair. It must have been 4 feet high out of the chair, and was jumping up and down, saying, "I love it! I love it! I love it!" It threw my heart because I can never forget that. And I can never forget Andre and Sandra for giving me that opportunity to save the day.
Wow, that's a cool story. I mean, it's so amazing that some of the world's most famous names would turn to you to fix things, and that is the highest compliment you can get. I mean, if I could do that, I'd be telling that every day. So now, you worked with Chaka Khan. Not only that, you were a keyboardist and music director. Now, her music is not easy. Amazing, wide range of a wide body of work. Talk about your experience as a music director.
Well, Chaka, how do you put into words a star of that magnitude? She's just amazing. And everything comes from her. Like she calls it she does that big note on the end of the song, yeah, really like that. Or she says it's a primal cry, and she has so many influences on her singing too. But she keeps her originality so that she's a signature artist and a genuine article.
Now, you've also, you did this as a musical director and a keyboardist. What was that like, accompanying her and, getting all of the group squared away?
Yes, she's got perfect timing and perfect placement. So when she sings a song, she sings a melody, like Frank Sinatra also had this ability too. It's like the melody had been sung 1,000 times before it came to them. And they were just carrying the message one more time.
Is that something that's, working with singers, she was really squared away in that regard? Great time. She knew where everything was supposed to be, where she wanted it to be.
Oh, yeah. Yes, there was never no question. See, the thing, there are two forces in the universe. One is faith, and the other is doubt. And the more that you can, go towards faith, the less you will have doubt on your side, or distracting or influencing you. and you want to go with as much positivity as you possibly can, because with faith you will achieve your dreams, you'll achieve your goals, and with doubt you'll be left to be devastated.
Now you've worked with so many amazing musicians and composers, and you've also worked with Hans Zimmer, and was that quite a bit different? This was for the film The Power of One. What was your role for that film?
Well, we were the Andre Crouch singers, and Andre pretty much always knew what he wanted to do, but he would leave it open he would always leave it open to me and say, Howard, what do you think? And I would make a suggestion, and we were just a great team because he was like our dad, our big brother more, because we were pretty close in age.
Can you talk a little bit about working with Seth Riggs, the acclaimed vocal coach? And he worked with Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder as well. Can you talk a little bit about that and talk about speech level singing? Because I know a lot of singers are very interested in that and they're interested in singing technique. You yourself are a wonderful singer. Talk about working with Seth Riggs.
Oh, Seth Riggs is a man of many talents, and mainly just the ability to teach what he does. There's no university for it. He sees that it all came from God. And so his vocalization technique, it really just took over the industry during the time of Natalie Cole being influenced, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and even Quincy Jones took lessons from Seth.
And would you say is your singing technique following that style of speech levels, that vocal technique?
Well, there's definitely an influence. I would say it's more towards the bel canto singers of Ireland, But there's definitely that it's hard to be a vocal teacher and not be influenced by that, by his technique. Yes, so I'm still a big advocate of speech level singing.
You mentioned bel canto. Are you familiar with opera and the operatic vocal technique as well?
Well, from the opera end, I can't really say, but from the jazz influence, great technique is great technique, and if you allow yourself to be open to what the bel canto's School of Music teaches, you will definitely benefit, because it was just exactly what it means, the beautiful voice.
And now I do want to talk about your epic move to Hong Kong in 2005 and just becoming a major player in the Chinese music scene. Now, talk about that, because what made that big decision to move to Hong Kong?
Well, actually, I was lecturing for Seth Riggs in his vocal camp in Bel Air at the St. Hills Mary's School. And so I had about a few hundred students in my class. It was these master classes that were going on. So I noticed this one eminent Asian gentleman who came to all of my lectures, never missed one of my lectures. And he came up to me afterwards and he said, Howard, now I understand from what you're saying, you're doing more production now, you're doing more teaching now, getting more into your writing. But he said, if you would just consider coming to perform for this venue where I am the musical director for, he said, I promise you, we can make you the Frank Sinatra of Hong Kong. As much as I love Frank, I said, and I was going through a divorce, at the time, my second divorce. And so I called up Madeira, and I said, listen, I have an opportunity to go to Hong Kong. Is there any chance of reconciliation? She said, no way. She said, I hope you go over there and get yourself remarried again. Are you sure?
Wow.
So I came to Hong Kong without the intention of ever getting married again.
It does seem like a very fresh start in a different place.
Oh, yes. Well, I tell you, I have to be very honest. The people of Hong Kong are just super. They are just some of the most wonderful people you'll meet on earth. Because if they support you and they trust you and they love you, there's nothing that they won't do for you.
Yeah, it really does sound like a wonderful place to be and to work. It's such a vibrant economy over there.
Yes. Well, they're very frugal and practical, and it takes a while for them to just watch you and observe you to win their trust. But once that trust is earned, you'll find some of the best friends you ever had in your life.
How do they respond to the jazz influence that you bring and the R&B and the gospel influences?
Well, that's the thing. When I sang, it was different from anyone else because there was that gospel influence, and so it couldn't be explained. It could only be experienced. But even if I was singing "Fly Me to the Moon," I said, no matter what the song is entitled, it still had that element in it of the gospel experience. So the 3-month gig that I came to do at this place called New Era, it was supposed to only be for 3 months, but I'm still here. That was back in 2005.
Wow. So it sounds like a great gig.
Oh, yeah, it ended. I wound up doing different things after that, like playing for the Four Seasons, the hotel.
Yeah, let's talk about a few of these very nice highlights here. You performed with the Hong Kong Chinese Orchestra in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk about that experience?
Wow, this is living proof that music is an international language, because music doesn't care whether you're black, white, green, orange. Whatever, the colors. It's not defined by color. Music is defined by spirit. In fact, it leads me to one other story. Was back in 2004, they were honoring Dave Grusin, and he's also another great influence. But they asked me, in tribute to Dave Grusin, to arrange a cappella on Golden Pond. So I put together this ensemble, and they nailed it. Every change, every nuance, the dynamics of that song with influenced by Dave Grusin. Dave came up to me afterwards and he said, "Howard, I want to tell you that this is the closest I've ever come in my life to having a spiritual experience."
Wow.
Awesome.
No, it's interesting. Nikhil was just recently married on Golden Pond.
It's true.
Really?
Yeah.
This is true.
Yep, this is true. In we're in Singapore now, but it was in New Hampshire that he just recently was married.
It's so funny you say that, Howard.
It's just interesting that you brought that up.
Cool.
And this is in New
Wow.
Hampshire. Yeah.
It's a small world, isn't it? That's fantastic.
So, can you tell us a bit about the piano concerto Black Butterfly, which this was also done with the Hong Kong Chinese Orchestra?
Yes. What I did was they gave me the opportunity to write a symphony for the Hong Kong Orchestra, and so I chose the theme Black Butterfly because I'm obviously black. And I feel like a butterfly just landing in this wonderful place, that's somewhere over the rainbow, which for me was Hong Kong. And I remembered the faces of all the friendly taxi drivers and the vendors who invited you to come in and taste their wares at the restaurants, and the police officers here are amazing. They don't beat you, they don't shoot you, they don't.
As you'd hope they don't.
No. The thing is, I tell you one thing about the police department here, though. You wouldn't pick a fight with Bruce Lee.
Oh my gosh! Wait, no. Let me jump in for a second, Howard. So, a piano concerto. There's a rich literature in the piano repertoire for piano concertos. You've got Rachmaninoff, Tchaikovsky, many Mozarts, many Beethovens. Handling a piano concerto, that's quite a daunting task.
Oh yes, but the thing about it, Nicky, is I was inspired by the Hong Kong people. because the food here is great. It's a shopper's paradise, and it's very scenic, very exotic. But the real value for Hong Kong are the people. The people are the greatest wealth this city has.
Now, how long did it take for you to write the piano concerto?
Took me about a week.
When you were writing it, did you already have an idea? Well, you were obviously mentioning the influences from the people of Hong Kong and the sights and the sounds. Did you also look at, like I mentioned before, the old classical literature? What was your conception when you were writing this piece?
Well, I tried to make it visual, if you will, even though it's something you hear audibly, but if you close your eyes, you could see this black butterfly flying over the city of Hong Kong and really loving the people. And that's where it's a very spacious type of a song. And so I tried to do it as respectfully as possible because it was my opportunity to thank the Hong Kong people for being so kind to me.
That's fantastic. I mean, they're lucky to have you. I mean, we want to abduct you now to Singapore. They're going to get some competition, I'll tell you that.
I would love to come there.
Hope that black butterfly flies over,
He's happy to.
Now, Howard, I want to ask you a couple of fun questions before we end off.
Okay.
Quick, rapid-fire questions, and Chris, you can jump in on this too. I'm going to ask you top three in your estimation. Who are your top three singers?
Woo! Male or female?
It could be either.
Okay, let's go in the male category. Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, and Donny Hathaway.
Oh, nice. What about three favorite pianists?
Andre Previn, Chick Corea, and let's see. This is a tough choice at this third one because I don't have three. But I have to say Bill Evans.
Favorite, let's say jazz standard. Do you have three top jazz standards that you really love?
Yes. Okay. The jazz standard. You know that one. We might have meant for each other. You know that one? That was the introduction to Let's Fall in Love, Frank Sinatra. I've listened to just about every recording of Frank Sinatra, and not one song has that introduction to it, or that even type of, it's just out there.
Who are your favorite composers? Maybe we can talk about the contemporary and then also talk about the classical.
Well, in the classical, Bach, Handel, Mozart.
If I could just, why Bach, why Handel, and why Mozart?
Well, Bach, if you listen to his music, especially his inventions, they have they're all, like, you have to have two separate brains to appreciate it. Because he would play a melody and then have a counter melody that would just be perfect. I said, man, that's brilliant. So I love his fugues.
Now, you mentioned Handel, and I know Beethoven loved Handel as well. Why do you specifically mention Handel?
Because Handel wrote the Messiah, and any composer is going to take time out of his life to. In fact, I heard the story goes that the king wanted this song a long time ago, and he just kept on putting it off till he set the guards over and got him in the.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, he wrote that. He wrote that
right quick.
Yeah.
And Mozart, I mean, he's great. Yeah. What about Mozart do you like?
His playfulness. When you listen to his melodies, like listening to a child at play, and everything just fits and flows perfectly.
And now, talk about the contemporary composers that you really admire.
Oh, George Gershwin, Oh gosh, I can't think of his name now. But George Gershwin would definitely be one of them. Oh, I can't think right now. Maurice Ravel. Oh, and the other George I like is George Benson.
Oh, nice. Do you know George? Do you know George Benson?
Can I tell you a story?
Yes.
Okay. There's a song I wrote called "You Love Me Back to Life Again,"
Okay.
and my publisher at that time was Paul Johnson. Paul took the song to George Benson, Wayne Henderson of the Jazz Crusaders, who was producing the album for George Benson at that time. And so what happened was that George heard the song, he loved it. He recorded it with a 40-piece orchestra at Capitol Records. He came up to me and said, "Young man, this is house music. After this song's released, I want you to go out and pick any house you want."
House music, that's great.
Isn't that cool? I said,
That's brilliant. Oh. House music. What about yacht music? I mean,
they loved the song. And then Wayne Henderson and Quincy Jones got into a contractual dispute over the whole album. They took that whole album and put it in a vault at Capitol Records. I was so heartbroken. But now, before that happened, Paul was very excited about this song. He went to Frank Sinatra. And this is Frank's words. Paul said, "What do you think, Frank?" Frank said, "Has anyone covered this?" He said, "Yes, George Benson just covered it with a 40-piece orchestra." He said, "I'll pass." I mean, for Frank Sinatra to at least hear it, he loved the song, but he didn't want to, go near it with George Benson.
That's a shame that we can't hear that anymore because of a legal dispute. I'd have loved to hear the tracks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, Howard, thank you so much for being so gracious with your time and sharing your wonderful knowledge and all the wonderful stories and experiences you've had. I really do hope you'll come back on because we really haven't touched on many of them. There's so many more to go to. But if I could leave with one final question, what advice would you give to a music student who's just starting in this business?
All right. I would say to that student that you already know what happened yesterday. In the past, we have to call the past yes today, because we have to agree with whatever happened then. And a human being is most powerful when he's in the present. So create in the present. Create what comes from your soul. Influence the world so that you can bring more healing to it, because as crazy as this planet is, the only thing that's going to help us and save us and get our minds thinking in the right direction is what we create now, so that tomorrow will be better than our yesterdays. And we need every writer, every singer, every musician, everyone who is a contributor to the arts to help us save our world. And our world needs to be influenced, touched, motivated, and inspired. So do what you came here to do, because you're one of God's angels here on earth.
Thank you so much, Howard. Howard McCrary, one of the greats, one of the all-time greats. I do hope you come back again, Howard. And I do hope you come down to Singapore. You'll be treated royally, I promise you that.
Oh, I'd love it. Thank you, Nicky.
Have a great evening. Great to talk to you.
You too. Look forward to talking to you some more.
Yeah, see you, Howard.
Thank you, Chris.